technology stuff, so there's a huge section on that. The demographic section, which is what you care about, is really relatively small, again, because there is no data. Now, your first thought will be what so many first thoughts are: call the CDC. They need to do that. What will the CDC do when you do that? They will hang up on you. It's not because they want to hang up on you, but it's because their budget has been cut over the years, and they get all these mandates, but they don't get any more money from Congress. So they can't do it, nor do they have the expertise or really to do it. But here's the great news. By mistake, as much as anything, the government has created tools for you to do it yourself. And that's really pretty exciting. And what the history that I've been able to gather is this: that the government is always being asked to fund this research study, that research study, every other research study in the world. And they saw that many times people were reinventing the wheel. They were reinventing the computer-based, the internet-based programs to collect data. And that was very expensive. So what they did was they created tools for everybody to use. Now, most of the tools are oriented primarily towards people who have survived cancer and people who have asthma and that sort of thing. But the reality is that you have my book, our book, a large group of people went into that, to take to your congressman, and you now have the tools to gather data on yourselves. And it's hard work, but it can be done. It can be done for very little money. I'll come back to you in just a sec. And I'm hoping, and can you bring up the internet and just show them? Perfect. We're going to bring up, but when you get home, the word to remember is promise. What a great word. And then misspell it, PROMIS. That these online data gathering tools are out there. And the first thing you need to do is make use of the skills that I'm no good at. I need to ask my children. But Facebook and others to find each other. Develop a listing of who is out there. Create a web-based questionnaire. Create data. And then march on Washington. Without the data, if you don't know who's out there, how old they are, what their disabilities are, what their needs are, no one's going to know how to help you. A decade ago, when I started worrying about this, it wasn't an option. There were no tools. The tools are there. And nobody's going to make this happen for you. You need to make it happen yourselves, and I hope you will. I'll be glad to help. We both will. Yes, ma'am.
Dr. Tosi, I've always heard that greater numbers draw attention. I mean, Bill Gates and his wife are over in Africa, and they're trying to find out where their money will do best in saving more people. Are there any other disabilities that could be joined to this to increase?
I think that's just right. The way I got going on this, life is life. So I did this big CP project, and then the OI, osteogenesis imperfecta, brittle bone disease, Foundation asked me to do a similar workshop for them, which I did. And what struck me is I was going to go around doing all these little workshops, but my booklet wasn't going to go the next step because I wasn't creating new data. And so it's because of the OI Foundation, which is where I'm starting, that I have started really exploring these tools. And what's really neat, if you get the CDC to do something like this, you're talking about spending gazillions at a time when we have an unbalanced budget. We were just talking, I think that this can be done. You could do a very high-class survey with validated questions for under $50,000. And that's pretty exciting. It's what the Internet has really brought us. I apologize.
No, that's fine. I have a comment and then a question. We had Dr. Mindy Addison, Asian. I never get that right. I'm disabled. We did a West Coast conference like this. She was our keynote speaker. I have begun dialoguing with her and Rancho Rehab to start building a program that educates community health doctors of how to take care of people with disabilities. So hopefully we can all collaborate together. My other question is, the healthcare reform bill does talk about, for the first time, people with disabilities, does talk about data being a priority to get better data for us. It's funny that migrant workers, homeless people have a department in HHS called Special Population, but people with disabilities are not part of that special population group. How hard is it going to be for us to get to that point where we're part of HHS special population group?
I think that's an incredibly good question, and the answer is I have no idea. But let me just get to that as I see it. And this is one person's opinion. At least if you look at what we tell parents, okay, 3% of children that are born have some sort of disability, of which cerebral palsy is the leading diagnosis. So here's the problem. You don't fit under rare disorders. Isn't that funny? Not funny at all. So if I could say you were a rare disorder, I'd have an easier time. I think that what Mindy Asen was the co-chair of this program we did 2 years ago. And Mindy has a great advantage that she's now the chief medical officer of a major rehab institution out in California and is creating really a home for individuals with disabilities. The reality, maybe I'll turn the tape off for just a minute. So, here's the reality. So I think that the problem with the health care bill is, by definition, it's going to drive reimbursements down. And again, at the risk of being totally politically incorrect, doctors are seeing patients in 7 minutes. If you can't be up on the table undressed in 10 seconds, you're an undesirable patient. And until we revamp the payment mechanism, it is still going to be very hard to get people services. And the other issue is, just let me speak to the orthopedic, which is what I know best. In the olden days, when I was a young attending, over 2/3 of orthopedic surgeons called themselves generalists. And they actually were seeing adults with childhood onset disorders in the community. Nowadays, they're all specialists. They're hip, they're shoulder, they're neck, they're this, they're that. And the one thing they're not is people who care for individuals with disabilities. So the pool of doctors who might help you, at least in my profession, is going downhill. And my own bias is that in a better world, we're going to create a whole new discipline of individuals who train in adult medicine and pediatrics, but focused on the individual with complex disorders, whether it's CP or anything else. So thank you so very much. So what we've brought up is promise, and what this does, can you just bring to the website? So if you can just Google on promise, but it is complex when you first look at it, and God knows I'm going to need endless tutoring to make this happen. But what it does is have a wide range of questionnaires that have been validated in large communities. And this is really important because yes, no questions, etc., don't always tell you where you are. And this lets you, this is more information than you want, but it lets you rank yourself against other kinds of populations. So you're very independent in a wheelchair. So are you independent? Yes. Okay. But can you walk to the restroom? No. It helps you put people on a scale more accurately. The other thing is there is no really good just shopping list of the kinds of problems you're facing. So as I've done focus groups with the osteogenesis imperfecta population, I really had not thought about cardiac. Well, I did the focus group with a bunch of people that had a heart attack at a young age. They were having a lot of trouble with GI symptomatology. These are issues that auto mechanics don't think about. So as we're going forward, we are taking advantage of this tool's ability to let you write your own questions, plus use tools so that you can better define the disabilities and the range of disabilities for a large number of people in comparison to a recognized scale. So what we're doing for the OI Foundation, and I just hope I can turn you on as a group to starting to think about doing it here as well, is trying to get very large numbers of people who otherwise might be hiding from the healthcare system to do questionnaires which will allow protected, because everybody's afraid of their private health information, protected by law data gathering that will help to define what are the problems of our adult population. So I just wanted to raise that. I needed to be in the car 11 minutes ago. But what if you have some additional quick questions? And I can't believe my good luck, because we did this together in 2008, and we had not chatted. And, yeah, by the way, and we're so easy. We have the same first name, right? I mean, how much more can you ask for? You only have to remember Laura once. We would love to help you. And I would, again, argue that if you don't start gathering data,